The feast of Saint Teresa of Calcutta and the 25th anniversary of the presence of the religious community of the Brothers of Charity was celebrated in Nazareth. On the occasion of the feast of the birth of Virgin Mary, an opportunity to discover the city of Seforis, in which, according to tradition, lived Saints Anne and Joachim. In the Northern Hemisphere, the school year begins this month of September, and in the Holy Land, the children who study in the schools administered by the Custodia are back in class. There are different hypotheses concerning the place from which Jesus passed by leaving the walled city of Jerusalem to reach Calvary. For archaeology, there is no specific one. From August 21 to 28, a series of concerts were held in different sites in the Holy City that promoted the dialogue between Europe and the Middle East. The sandals remain at the entrance, a sign of reverence, availability, and humility. In this cozy chapel, the contemplative missionaries of charity recite their prayers every day. A place of adoration goes on at the Blessed Sacrament and open to all, local Christians and visitors. In the city of Nazareth, this is a place of silence and tranquility, as indicated by the name of the house, Beit as-Salam in Arabic, or Beit Shalom in Hebrew, which means house of peace. The congregation, founded in Rome in 1979 by Saint Teresa of Calcutta and Father Sebastian Vascala, makes up part of the religious branches initiated by the saint. A life characterized by prayer, penance, and merciful works, including in particular free and sincere service to the poorest of the poor. Shared experiences of the priest who is also the Superior General of the Contemplative Brothers and has lived closely with Mother Teresa.
I was following Jesus Christ, whom Mother Teresa also followed. So it was like I did not think too much about mother, but I thought of Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then she was able to help me, to form me in one way, because she told me to, because I was interested more maybe yesterday and tomorrow. She taught me to live today. For Mother, today was more important, not yesterday and tomorrow. That was a big learning for me, and so many other things I learned through and from her, and she taught me. She has been my second mother.
In Nazareth, the male contemplative branch has existed since 2010. It is a formation house in which the religious prepare for perpetual vows. They coexist with other charisms present in the city. They visit sick in their homes and hospitals, as well as being involved in the liturgy field and in celebrations of the Basilica of the Annunciation.
Place where somebody wants to pray quietly can come and rest in the Lord. Silent contemplation to experience the atmosphere of the Holy Family of Nazareth. So you can come and pray with us. We have adoration in the chapel we start 5 o'clock in the morning and midnight, 1 o'clock.
On September 5, the feast of Saint Teresa of Calcutta, Archbishop Pierbattista Pizzaballa, Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, celebrated a Mass in the Basilica of the Annunciation. On this occasion, the 3 missionaries of charity issued their perpetual vows, a week of commemorations that fits into the Jubilee year, given that the association remembers the 25th anniversary of its establishment as a religious institute in the Diocese of Rome. They are also present in India, Albania, Nigeria, and Ghana. In Beit as-Salam, the religious have the Holy Family as their patron, an inspiration in tune with the words that Mother Teresa addressed in a letter to the Superior General so that the congregation might become another Nazareth. As in the hidden life of Christ, the religious are also apprentices of the School of Nazareth, the school of the Holy Family.
Seforis is located about 10 kilometers from Nazareth. In the national park, we find the ruins of the city which, starting from the year 55 AD, was the capital of Galilee, inhabited generally by Jews. Its history dates back, however, to the 1st century BC, to the Hellenistic period. The name Seforis derives from the Hebrew word zippori, because the city is located at the top of a perched bird-like gully. The so-called Pearl of Galilee was a very developed region where people of different cultural and religious backgrounds coexisted peacefully. Archaeological discoveries have brought to light significant remains of different eras like roads and columns typical of Roman architecture, an ancient water system, an amphitheatre probably constructed by Herod Antipas, son of Herod the Great, and also the constructions from the Crusaders period on a hill from which you can contemplate a fascinating panoramic view of Seforis and its surroundings. The archaeological site is amazing, with beautiful mosaics found in every corner. The House of the Nile, an ancient synagogue with representations evoking the Jewish tradition, is particularly interesting, like the angel who visited Abraham and Sarah, the sacrifice of Isaac, a zodiac with the names of the months in Hebrew, and daily offerings, while in what must have been a luxurious Roman villa, the mosaics depict scenes in honor of the god Dionysus or Bacchus, and also the enchanting image of the so-called Mona Lisa of Galilee. It is believed that at the beginning of Christianity there existed a Judeo-Christian community that saw Jesus as Messiah. Seforis is also considered the city that gave birth to Saint Anne, the mother of the Virgin Mary, a tradition supported by the remains of the church from the Crusader era with 3 naves dedicated to her. The ruins are located in the surroundings of the national park, on the land purchased by the Custody of the Holy Land in 1841. The narratives on the birth of Mary that come to us from the oral tradition are of James the Apostle, who indicates the birth near the Temple of Jerusalem. Another tradition attributes the birth in Seforis, surely of Saint Anne, and there is also that which supports the birth of Mary, but the sure narration that we have is that of James the Apostle. According to Father Bruno Variano, in Seforis, besides the birth of Saint Anne, the birth of Mary may also have occurred. However, the account of St. James the Apostle on the birth in Jerusalem of the Virgin intends to emphasize the imminent neighborhood of the temple in the Holy City, a geographical, theological indication of the birthplace of the Virgin Mary that would help to capture in Mary the new temple, the mother of the Word incarnate. It is certain, however, that Mary lived most of her life in Nazareth.
Nella narrazione dell'incarnazione del sì di Maria, troviamo il coinvolgimento di tutte le fonti.
On the incarnation and the yes of Mary, we have the meeting of all sources. Of course, there is another house of Joachim and Anne in Nazareth. It is agreed because Nazareth was a small village and not a developed Hellenistic city like Seforis. Thus Nazareth has the synthesis of the narrations of James the Apostle, of the Gospel of St. Luke, and certainly of archaeology. Like the words Caere Maria, the Domus Ecclesia, the Byzantine Church, the Franciscan Crusader Church, and the current Basilica.
Il Cairo Maria, l'iscrizione, la Domus Ecclesiae, poi la Chiesa Bizantina, la Chiesa Crociata Francescana e l'attuale Basilica.
Literary and historical sources and archaeological remains allow us to touch the places of Mary's daily life and understand humanity. In the Northern Hemisphere, the summer holidays are over and it is time to go back to class. Time for a new beginning and news, especially in the Terra Santa School of Jerusalem, where boys and girls who, for different reasons, attended different schools, from now on will study together. It all started long ago in the year 1598, when the Franciscan friars opened the first schools in the Holy Land. Only in 1848 a college for girls was founded, directed by the Sisters of St. Joseph. To resume the academic year, even the building has been modernized. The custody of the Holy Land has restored the ancient structures, and the classrooms have been adapted to better meet the needs of pupils. This change has taken place for our children. Now we are only one school, and we want to be one of the best schools in the Holy Land. We want to go ahead to pursue the best. We have completely renovated the Terra Santa school of the old city of Jerusalem, and we have created a welcoming environment for the students.
Nella notte scura la sua luce illumina il cielo, splende lassù tutto il cielo blu a Betlemme
طبعا خطوة جديدة.
These are new times. Before, we didn't deal with boys in this school. In any case, our teachers are well prepared.
يعني بعتقد انه هو اليوم يوم تاريخي في تاريخ مدرسة تيرا سانتا خصوصا في القدس لانه اول يوم.
I believe this is a historic day in the progress of the schools in the Holy Land, and in Jerusalem in particular. The change begins today. We have managed to do everything possible for the pupils, to help them excel in their efforts and achieve more than satisfactory results, a source of pride for the students themselves, their parents and their school.
عام دراسي مليء بالخير والسعادة على الجميع. عشان تحسنوا اللغة، عشان تتعلموا عربي كتير، لازم تقرأوا. عندنا موسوعات كتيرة جدا، عندنا أشياء مش موجودة في أي مكان.
So Jesus also suffered outside the gate in order to sanctify the people through his own blood. But where was this judgment gate which Jesus would have walked through to reach Golgotha? For some time, the Franciscans have identified it as the seventh station of the Way of the Cross, the place which commemorates where Jesus fell for the second time. The archaeologist Brother Eugenio Alliata wanted to emphasize that this place stands on the remains of the walls of the city, belonging to the circle of the second wall of Jerusalem, thus testifying that Calvary was outside the city. The Russian Orthodox Church identifies this holy place within the Hostel of Alexander, a Russian women's monastery a few steps away from the Holy Sepulchre Basilica.
The Imperial Orthodox Palestine Society, with the money of the chairman of the Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich, excavated and found the remains of the old ancient city walls and the gateway threshold leading out of the city. And since this gate is the nearest gate to Calvary, the fact that Jesus Christ through them was put to death is unquestionable.
Archaeology claims that the Russians' Hostel of Alexander was one of the first important places discovered in Jerusalem in the 19th century. However, there is also another explanation for the remains found there. It is believed that the great walls that have been found are not the walls of the city, but rather the walls of the temple built by Emperor Hadrian on the site of Golgotha. Walls that have remained those of the Basilica of Constantine. A place which is important from an archaeological point of view, but it is also a holy place. The Russians therefore certainly own an important place, a place that is part of the basilica built by Emperor Constantine, one of the first built on a holy place, the place of Golgotha, the place of death and resurrection of Jesus. On the monumental wall we see this well-known needle that served as access to the city at night. This place tells us how Jesus probably referred to the needle when he said, "It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God." Here you can also admire an arch dating back to about 135 AD, which gave access to the Forum of Hadrian. There are paintings of the Way of the Cross hanging on the walls all around, which form a whole with the archaeological remains, which helps us to enter into the mystery of the Passion of Jesus. Jerusalem is an enchanting place for all those who visit it, with its holy places, its colours, scents and sounds. These treasures have been glorified in recent days by notes and melodies of cellos, guitars, flutes and curious instruments. All this is Sounding Jerusalem, a classical music project aimed at the inhabitants and tourists of the Holy City. One of the goals of this initiative, which has been taking place here since 2006, is to promote intercultural dialogue, meeting and interaction between Europe and the Middle East through the presence of artists from Austria, Germany, Switzerland, Italy and the Holy Land.
In the same time when you're playing, actually, you hear all the noises or the prayers, the bells of the city in the same time, and it's happening each concert. So people already, the audience are expecting it already. So when is the music now starting to pray? And as a musician you can...
One of the most awaited moments was undoubtedly the concert at dawn in one of the most beautiful and inspiring panoramic points of the old city. And at the dawn of a new day, music is growing. The musicians have gently awakened Jerusalem. And finally, behind the Mount of Olives, the sun has risen. Once again, the light has overcome the darkness.
The sunrise concert is it's a place, as you can see, if you can look around, it's basically in the middle of the heart of the old city of Jerusalem, and everyone, you know, there's not a wall around us can be part of it, and this to see the sun and the emotion, you know, the power of the sun coming into it, and to accompany this with music, and I think this is really a big experience for everyone.
The festival is all about coming together, enjoying the music, besides what religion or country you're from, what culture you participate in. So it's a great chance to getting to know people and like getting over borders through music, and I really love it.
I think it was really wonderful because we came here when the sun was still down, and then they started playing all different kinds of music, and then very slowly the sun came up, and it was like, I don't know, kind of almost a magical moment.
The background to the festival were the Church of the Dormition of Mary, the École Biblique, and the Church of Saint Anne, where, according to tradition, the parents of the Virgin Mary lived and where the mother of Jesus was born. Here, the young students of the Magnificat Institute, the music school of the custody of the Holy Land, had the opportunity to play and share their talents with the artists of the festival. Among them, the little Marian.
This event is important and unusual. I play the bassoon and I am very happy to practice music. It makes me feel at ease. I have a long breath so I can play it.
We're very happy to participate on this event, and we're doing it already second year and have to be very successful. And this time our 4 students playing with a professional musician, with a quartet, great quartet from Switzerland, and they work very hard and they made a lot of rehearsals, so I hope it will be fine. And it's very important for our school and I cannot say for Holy Land, but for our school and our students to open themselves to the world, to open themselves to the music, to play music with people from different countries and from different religions, and you know, music connects everybody.
Sounds that touch the heart, lift the soul, which echo louder from this land.